I'm going to tell you something that no one else is saying right now that you need to hear. Every financial bubble bursts. Not some, not most, but all of them. From the Tulip Mania of the 1600s all the way to the housing market collapse of 2008, every single one of them has followed the same pattern. Euphoria into denial, into panic, into collapse. And if you think that this time is different, then you are exactly who needs to hear this message, because all the warning signs are there. You just have to know how to read them. But here's the thing about bubbles. No one wants to look at tomorrow because today feels so good. When you're in a bubble, it's amazing. Prices are going up. People feel richer. Everyone thinks they're a genius. But bubbles don't burst slowly. They pop suddenly, violently, and without warning. And when it pops, the people who are not prepared are going to be left holding the bag. But here's the thing about bubbles. No one wants to think that they're going to pop because they feel amazing while you're in them. Prices rise, everyone feels richer, suddenly everyone thinks they're a genius. But the thing with bubbles is that they don't pop slowly. They pop suddenly, violently, without warning. And smart money will exit before the pop, and everyday Americans are the ones left holding the bag. But there is good news, because while we know how bubbles end, we also know how bubbles operate. So if you understand the cycle of the bubble we're in and where exactly we are, then you are able to take action to protect yourself before it's too late. So let's get into it. These are the stages in a bubble. I've shown this before, but people keep asking me, Taylor, how high is this going to go? And while I don't have a crystal ball, one thing is sure from history: it cannot go up forever, which is why we're going to look at exactly where we are today and what's coming next. Now, on the left here, we have smart money. Now, smart money enters the market during the stealth phase. So this is high risk, high reward. No one's talking about this yet. Maybe they have inside information. The media at this point would poo-poo any kind of investment in here in the stealth phase because it's unproven and unknown. It's not until we move into the awareness phase down here that you really start to see things taking off. This is where chit chat starts. It's not widespread, but enough people know about it. So much so that as it takes off, there's this first sell-off into a bear trap. But when the rally happens, now that is when things change. So we see this start to go up, and as it starts to pass that first sell-up mark, you see media attention. This is because people are excited. They get very enthusiastic. They haven't seen something like this before. Oftentimes, it's tied with something new and exciting. Now, this enthusiasm propels us up forward into greed. Now, during this stage, this is public. So this is, again, the media is jumping on board. People are talking about it online. People are telling their neighbors. We see all kinds of things happen during greed. Now, I'm not going to fault people for human nature. You want to make profit, but during greed, people aren't making sound decisions. They think that the highs are going to keep getting higher, and therefore they are buying at already highs, leading to delusion. As things continue to go up, the greed pays off. Now they've been rewarded and they are suddenly delusional that this is going to go on forever. And that is where, in my opinion, we are today. Real quick, don't worry, we're going to come back to where we're going next in the bubble. But while we're talking about delusion and where we are today, I wanted to show you a chart that just came out this week, which shows the expectations for consumers between income and stock prices. So again, this is the expectation of how much these two things are going to rise. Now, going all the way back to 1985 is where it starts over here. You can see that the two often tend to somewhat follow each other as people expect that their income is going to rise because, let's say, the economy is doing well or whatever the factors might be, then the stock market is rising too. And it works in vice versa, right? As things are slowing down, maybe there's more layoffs, people's income is being cut, hours are being cut, the stock market's not doing that well. Well, we have something here that we have never seen before. If we look all the way here on the right, what is happening specifically right here in present day? Oh my goodness. We have a divergence, the likes of which we've never seen between people's expectation of just how high stock market increases are going to be versus their income. Now, one thing I will say is I know, you know, that the legacy media has not been fully transparent with us about income. They continue to claim that income has kept up with the cost of living, which we both know not to be true across the board. We just know that. So it's no surprise to me that income is not up here, that people are not saying, oh yeah, my income's going to rise a lot over the next 6 months. But the fact that people think that the stock prices are going to rise that much is fine. Maybe they will right now. But can you tell me why this is so concerning? Where I'm going to go next with this. What I saw when I looked at this chart was delusion. Because again, if stock prices actually go up that much, but income is not rising with it, we have a situation where there is not real growth. Something is wrong here with this chart. Something is not right. Think about this. Here's another sign for you that something is not right with this chart. How many people do you personally know who have never cared about equities, the stock market, or maybe had something in their retirement, but it was never a focus, are suddenly experts? They're talking to you about what's going on. They're sharing their tips and tricks. Why is that? It's because suddenly there is FOMO, fear of missing out. Everyone thinks that they know what's happening next. And because things have been going up, there is a flood of cash flowing into the market because people are convinced that things are going to keep getting better. That's when the collapse is already baked in. Every time there's a story, ask yourself right now, what narrative am I being sold? Right? During the dot-com era, it was the internet. It's going to change everything. It's going to be different this time. The stock market will never come down. Well, we know how that ended. What is it today? Is it AI? Because I am not suggesting that AI is not transformative. It already has transformed our world and will continue to do so. But to think that AI is going to be the thing that changes the stock market to where it will only ever go up, again, is delusional. There's no other word for it. Can someone tell me where is the real growth? They can't, because it's all speculative. If you are not concerned about market concentration, you should be. The S&P 500 is looking like the S&P 5 these days. Here's a chart I found about US stock market concentration hitting a record high in 2024. And the top 10 companies making up, what is that? It's almost 40% of the market cap. I mean, that is absurd. And look at the times in history when we've seen this before. I mean, in 2000, it wasn't even as concentrated as it is today. If anything should happen and that speculative growth turns around and people realize, oh, this isn't real, that is going to come down so fast. But I'm jumping ahead. Let's go back to this bubble, the stages in a bubble. Now, again, I think we're right here. I think that we are in a delusion stage. People are deluding themselves. They are convincing themselves. They believe truly that this is going to go on, which some people would say is the new paradigm. That is the peak. I don't think we're quite there yet, but the new paradigm is a shift in thinking that this is the new normal. The new normal just dropped. This is the way it's going to be from here on out. We have beat the odds, expectations. Nothing can ever go wrong, which of course, anytime people think that is exactly when things start to take a turn. That's because people who are paying attention are going to leave. They're going to realize that it was a great run and it's time to go. Time to make sure that you're protected. Take what you earned and put it somewhere safe. But no, there are going to be people who are convinced, just hold, it will go up as it's going down. As it's going down, just hold, it will go up. That is where denial comes in, which is always honestly sad to see because people think, no, it's going to, what? Return to normal. What is normal? There is no normal. You've convinced yourself that the new normal is a never-ending trajectory up, when in reality, it is going to get a whole lot worse, leading down to fear and ultimately despair. And this isn't even taking into consideration all of the risk. Our system is riddled with risk. Volatility is actually going to be the new normal because all it takes is one situation. Everything is so interconnected that all it takes is one whiff of that fear and things are going to come crashing down. People are going to lose a lot. It honestly tears me up to think about it. And I know that there are people out there who are going to say, stop spreading fear. Stop. I'm not trying to spread fear. I'm trying to spread education so that people are protected outside of putting all of their eggs in one risky basket just because it seems like it's going to do well right now. I'm not, nor have I ever claimed to be, a financial advisor. I cannot tell people what they should do with their cash. All I know is what history has shown us, that these cycles repeat themselves. And I think it is obvious, and I'm sure most of you would agree if we look at this, where we are in this cycle and that it cannot go on forever. So when people ask me, be honest, wouldn't you want to be making profit right now? Yes, of course. Absolutely. I want everyone to be prosperous, but what I also want for everyone is to make sure that you have your insurance policy in place before this turns over, before things start to take a turn down, because when it happens, it's going to happen fast. And if you don't have your insurance policy in place outside of the system, then it's going to be too late. And you could lose everything, savings, retirements, because we know that as this turns, it's not just one asset that's going to go down with it. Property values, who knows how big the fallout could be. That's why I sleep better at night knowing that I have that insurance policy in place, that my wealth is protected outside of the system. So yes, as I'm making profit, I also make sure though to protect myself, so that I can sleep well at night knowing that if I wake up tomorrow and something happened in the middle of the night and everything starts to go haywire the next day, I have not risked everything. Especially, again, I really think about those out there who do not have the luxury of time to have that second chance to rebuild. I know how important this is. And if any of this is concerning to you, or you don't feel like you have a plan in place, or you want a second opinion, that is what our team is for. Again, personally, I believe in sound money, physical gold and silver, because it's outside of the system. And should any of this happen tomorrow, I know I'm protected. And that's what I want for everyone else too. But it's really important to make sure that you have a strategy in place that makes sense for you. So if you want to understand how to start that process, talk to a member of our team. They are experts in understanding bubbles, currency life cycles, history, everything that's going on in the world right now. They make it really simple to understand, and they work with people just like you to protect their wealth. And as always, if you have any questions, any thoughts, any comments, please leave them below. I love reading everything that you have to say. I appreciate you being here. I'm Taylor Kenny with ITM Trading, your trusted source for gold, silver, and lifelong wealth protection. Until next time.